finance and economics. You're talking about a gentleman that has over 25 years experience. You're talking about a gentleman that is helping people around the world, and I do mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I'm talking about a gentleman that's here tonight that's going to help you, that wants to pour into you to help your family, your household, your legacy, that's going to show you the why, the what, your RX for Forex, Dr. Craig Bythewood. Dr. Bythewood, are you on the call? Did I lose him?
No, I'm here.
There he is. There he is. The call is officially yours, Dr. Bythewood.
Okay, I appreciate that. Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to a talk with the finance doctor, your RX for Forex. And I want to begin by stating, thank you, Ms. Payton, I appreciate that. I want to begin by greeting our guests. I'd like to really welcome all of our guests tonight, and I'd like to let you know that you sincerely are loved, because if someone loved you enough to share with you this vehicle, to let you know about this opportunity, that's a beautiful thing. And I come to these calls every Tuesday and Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern with a great deal of excitement and a great deal of anticipation. And so I want to share with our guests briefly why I get so excited about this opportunity. You see, I earned my PhD in finance and economics 25 years ago at the age of 26. And I had a lot of plans for what I wanted to do with that degree. And one of them I'm doing right at this moment, and that is to do what I can to help others, to, as Ms. Dyer stated, to pour into others any opportunity I get. I literally wake up in the morning for that opportunity. And I'll give you a quick example on why I feel so strongly about that. There is a spiritual modality that I suggested for a couple of individuals that I attended the Platinum 1000 event with Mr. C. Thomas Gambrell. And when I suggested that they try this spiritual modality, one of them gave it to their child. And their child is an adult, and they happen to be sharing that, or that particular adult child has a child. So at that moment, it occurred to me that because I purchased this spiritual modality years ago, and I'm now exposing it to someone else who exposed it to their child, who has a child, that means that just by one decision to be committed to a particular process to make myself better, to personally develop myself, I just hit 3 generations. So hear me, this is not about me. This is about the modality or the philosophy of wanting to do for others. And when you do that, you really put yourself in a position where it can multiplicatively touch lives. And if you think about it, this is not Craig Bythewood telling you what he's doing. This is a microcosm of what we're doing as a movement. You are here because of I Am Academy. And we are here because we have a movement within I Am Academy that is called the Be Your Own Bank movement. And our goal is to touch 1 million families. So I share that story to let you know why I'm so excited about pouring into others. But I'm also sharing that story because it's a living example of how you touch other families just by making one decision. So let me get back to my story about why I'm so excited about presenting to you every Tuesday and Thursday. So I'm 26 years old. I have many plans. And one of my plans was I want to make sure that I train myself and prepare myself to be able to invest in what I called at the time. And now, mind you, this is 25 years ago, guests. I called it exotic markets. And one of those exotic markets, or better stated, the largest exotic market at that time was the foreign exchange market. So 25 years ago, I decided the foreign exchange market was one of the markets I wanted to master, and I wanted to be able to invest to a large degree. Now, We have a business partner in I Am Academy who always makes this point. It's better to be ignorant and on fire than to be intelligent but on ice, or exposed or knowledgeable on ice. Well, I certainly reverse engineered this philosophy, because what I did was I decided to put myself in the lab and prepare myself for investing in the foreign exchange market. I was 26. So when I finally decided I was ready to invest in the foreign exchange market, I was 36. So literally, I put myself in the lab for 10 years. Did it take 10 years? Of course not. But one of the reasons why I like this part of the story is because I know I'm speaking to some people out there. There's some people out there who are ready. You're ready to walk out of your demo account and go live. You're ready to stop being a guest and be a business partner. But oftentimes, we spend so much time preparing that we literally put ourselves in a paralysis by analysis, and that's exactly what I did. So here I am, 36 years old, and I decided to invest in foreign exchange market by doing so with a group of individuals, like-minded individuals. I called them my mastermind group. So we got together, we created a business plan, we put ourselves in a position to be able to invest in foreign exchange. And the first thing we did was what you have to do when you invest in any financial market is we identified a broker. So 15 years ago, we went to a particular broker and we said, here we are, we're ready to invest in foreign exchange. Look at our business plan. We've got a PhD on the team. Our business plan is laminated. We're ready to go. Let's invest in foreign exchange. And I will always remember that day, because the broker said, in order for you to invest in the foreign exchange market, it is going to cost you, or you're going to have a minimum balance in your account of $1 million. So I remember that day thinking that my dream had died. But now, 15 years later, I'm a business partner in I Am Academy. So I realized that that dream didn't die, it was just deferred. So I'm sharing with you that story because I want you to realize just how much has changed in the last 15 years. My children, actually, this is a perfect example. My youngest daughter is 14, and she's my third child. So when she was born, that's when I got a cell phone. So oftentimes when they're hitting me about cell phones and they say, well, when did you get your first cell phone? I tear that argument up because I was 36. So I've only had a cell phone for 14 years. 15 years ago when I had this conversation, there were cell phones. I just didn't have one. So bottom line is, the first thing I did when I joined I Am Academy was using my academic experience. I vetted out the I Am Academy. Why did I do that? Because we're selling something that is called an educational platform. I'm an educator. So as an educator, I felt like I had to look at the platform and make sure that it was worthy of me saying this is something that I represent. And let me tell you, I was more than impressed. It surpassed my expectations. So when I looked at it, I asked this question. When new members come in, I'd like to be able to tell them, how long would it take for you to aggressively look at the videos and be able to invest live? And after doing my due diligence, I came up with the number of 10 hours, 10 total hours. And I'm talking about adding up every single minute of every single video. It should take you about 10 hours to be able to feel comfortable investing live. Now, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about the irony of this story that I'm telling. So Dr. Craig Bythewood, the expert, took 10 years and it would have cost him $1 million. You can do it in 10 hours and for $325. Come on. Just think about that from a comparative perspective. It took me 10 years and would have cost $1 million. You can do it in 10 hours and for $325 to start. So literally, this is not me selling it. This is me going back to my original question. I want our guests to understand why I am so adamant about this, why I get so excited about this, because we have an opportunity to invest in a $6.6 trillion industry. And we have an opportunity to do so for such a small fraction of what we can earn. And then if you really want to think about it, now I've been in direct sales before, but there's something about this company, something about this model, which far surpasses anything else that you can do. Because every other direct sales company in the world, the product is about you selling it. In other words, you have to sell the product to make the money. But here, the product is making money. Let me say it again. In any direct sales environment, you have to sell the product to make the money. But in this situation, the product is making money. So think about the beauty of this, guest. You can literally build a business by bringing other people in, by doing the same thing I did with the spiritual modality, by saying, hey, this is something that I think can benefit you. Try it. That's all you have to do. And you can also recognize that you're learning a $6.6 trillion a day skill that can literally put you on the other side of wealth and abundance. So my point is simply, guess, to make you understand why I get so excited about this call. What is this call about? This call is labeled a talk with the finance doctor, your RX for Forex. And our purpose here is that we recognize that there's some economic wounds out there. And because there's some economic wounds out there, we want to write a prescription on how to address it. So we talk about investing in the foreign exchange market. We talk about the importance of cryptocurrency. We talk about what I refer to as the economic pie. To me, the economic pie is very critical because, yes, trading currency pairs, trading in the foreign exchange market is a very large slice of the pie. But what about all the other parts of what I call personal finance? Now, here's the way I look at it. Personal finance represents all those areas that you have to deal with in terms of anytime you deal with a transaction that involves money coming in and money going out. That's personal finance. Anything you have to do for your family, for yourself, with your employer, that's personal finance. But I like to take personal finance and turbocharge it. I like to take personal finance and put it on steroids, because I like you to understand that when you take personal finance and you make it be you understanding how it works, suddenly it's economic empowerment. Economic empowerment is when you take the strategy-based, technique-based avenue of personal finance and you now understand how you can have this for yourself, how you can have an understanding for this. And think about it. What do we call our movement? Be your own bank movement. The reason why it's called Be Your Own Bank is because we want you to literally be your own bank. And so when you think about it, the Be Your Own Bank movement is a form of economic empowerment. Well, what do banks do? Why do we want to be our own banks? To me, banks do a lot of things that we're comfortable with. But to me, the biggest thing that banks do is this. They control infrastructure. They control infrastructure. And by controlling infrastructure, they put themselves in a position where they win, and sometimes they win at our expense. So if we understand a mindset of following the Bythewoodism, if you know what you are doing, you will always have a job. And if you know why you're doing it, you will always have the boss. You'll always be the boss. Let me say it again. If you know what you are doing, you will always have a job. If you know why you are doing it, you will always be the boss. So having an understanding and a mindset like that allows you to literally economically empower yourself. So let me give you a real life example, recent, snatched from the headlines of my life, to tell you why I think this is important. We have a business partner that's on this call right now who has a son, and that son has a girlfriend. And that girlfriend mentioned to the son, who mentioned to the mom, I hope you follow that, there'll be a quiz later, who said, I have student loans. And my grace period is about to end on my student loans, and I need some advice and some counsel on how to handle this. So the girlfriend told the son, who told the mom, who told Dr. B. Dr. B, you're my boy, and my son's girlfriend has an issue with student loans. Will you hook her up? I said, of course. Because let me tell you something. My grandmother was an entrepreneur. She was the first entrepreneur in our family. And she was wise. She was not educated, did not go to college, but she was so wise. And she used to say, baby, that's how she talked, baby, if you charge for everything that you do, you'll never be rich. Boy, that's a gem right there. Because the mindset of always having to get paid every time you do it, it tenses it up. And it puts you in a situation where you sometimes, instead of playing to win, you play not to lose. So anytime I have an opportunity to help someone, I know that's coming back tenfold. The Bible says that. Shaken up, pressed, in good measure. So the bottom line is I helped the young lady, and she asked me a bunch of real life questions about student loans. Now, there are 2 points I want to make from this story. The first question is this. I asked her 2 questions that every single time I talk to anybody, young to old, and I ask them about this particular question as it relates to debt, they never know the answer to the question. Now, before I tell you the question and tell you the answer, let me tell you another story. Here's a tangent to my tangent to my tangent. I went to Walmart the other day. Now, if I'm at Walmart and I want to buy something, there's a particular item that I need to look at before I buy it, and it's called a price. So I looked at the item, and there was no price on it. I looked at the little label, and there was no price. So do you think I would go to the cashier and take money out of my pocket and pay for it first? No. I need a price check. So once you tell me what the price is, now I will decide whether or not to buy it. One of the reasons why we want to be our own bank is because we recognize that banks take advantage of the fact that you and I will do it at Walmart, but we won't do it when we're dealing with banks. So I asked the young lady, what is the interest rate on your student loan? She had no idea. Don't judge that young lady. Don't judge that young lady. Don't judge that young lady. Because if I had a nickel for every single time I asked someone who had a credit card and I said, hey, what is your interest rate? They have no clue. And then the second question I asked her was, what is the time period? In other words, how long do you have to pay off the loan? She didn't know that either. So sometimes when you and I participate in the debt market, when you and I participate in the credit market, time out. I thought this was a call about foreign exchange. I thought this was a call about cryptocurrency. I thought this was a call about $6.6 trillion industry. Why are we talking about debt? We're talking about debt because as we continue to grow in our abundance, as we continue to reach our goal of cash out, call out, and letting this be our full-time gig and having the freedom to be able to go to lunch with our child the way Miss Dyer did today. I wish y'all could have heard how excited she was when she talked about the fact that she could go eat lunch with her daughter today, but she wasn't able to do it with her grown kids. This was a new paradigm for her as a parent, that she now has the flexibility to be able to go eat lunch with her daughter, and you could just feel it coming out of her pores. That was a beautiful thing. Because some of you that are younger, some of you that have small kids, you can have an opportunity to do something that Ms. Dyer didn't have an opportunity to do. So that's why we want to touch a million families by March 2021, because we can give individuals the opportunity to feel that excitement for most of their adult life and not just part of it. So I said all that to say this. We need to understand how the credit markets work, because as we continue to grow, we may open up a business and need to take out a loan. We may need to pay off some of our loans once we get our 7-figure trading in action. So we need to understand how credit markets work. So she made a decision to take out a loan. Now think about it. The product that I wanted to buy at Walmart was a product. Isn't money a product? Yes, money is a product, because if you take out a loan, you're buying money. What do you mean you're buying money? Well, you're paying for the money. What's the payment? Interest. The bank is selling the money. What's the payment for the seller? The interest. So I'm not in any way saying anything about this young lady, because in 25 years, let's add it 27. I started doing financial planning 2 years before I graduated. So 27 years of asking the question, what's your interest rate? I always get up. Mm-hmm. So we would not go to Walmart without asking how much something costs, but yet we'll buy $40,000 worth of money and not ask the question. So that's just part one of my story, because here's part two. Part two is, after she talked to me the second time, this is what she said. She said, Dr. B, they added $11,000 to my student loan. Why did they add $11,000 to your student loan, girlfriend of the boyfriend of the mother of my business partner? And she said, what they told me, did you hear what I said? What they told me was that throughout the grace period of the loan, interest was accruing daily. And the interest that accrued daily had now summed to $11,000, and they were adding the $11,000 to the loan. As soon as she finished telling me that, she said, I wish they had told me. Can we keep it real, y'all? That's gangster. That's gangster to loan somebody $40,000 so they can get a college education, which we have been trained is the way to go. We've been told, like we say all the time in this Be Your Own Bank movement, go to college, get a degree, get a good job, get a gold watch when you're retired. We're straight. The paradigm is changing, and we have to change with it. So can I be honest about the fact that it hurt my heart to hear this young lady tell me this story? Because all she wanted to do was get a degree. She's a nurse. So she got a degree, she's working in the field, she's doing her thing, she's already has to pay $40,000 back, but you're gonna add $11,000 to her loan and not tell her? Let's be real. They told her. They told her. You know how they told her? At the very bottom of a piece of paper, in little small gray writing that you could hardly see, that looks just like this, they said that if you don't pay within the grace period, interest is accruing daily. Come on. Who gets student loans? Young people. Young people who, let alone, are not going to be able to read. Come on. Grown people aren't able to read big, long contracts like that, but especially when they put it in the light gray ink. So that's gangster. So I'm not saying that I'm mad at the bank. I'm not saying I'm mad at the young lady for not asking those questions. What I'm saying is, let's put ourselves in a position where we can be our own bank and we can treat our situation a little bit different. So I'm a girls basketball coach. And right now I'm coaching high school. So I fussed at my teammates. I fussed at my team last night. And the reason why I fussed at my team last night is because in the second half, I heard my players whining and crying about the referee's calls. That's a foul. That's a foul. That's a bad call. And one of the reasons why I fussed at them is because I spoke to this in training camp, and I talked to them about the type of team that we're going to be. So this is the way I addressed that conversation. I said, how many of you shot 100% from the field? Nobody raised their hand. I said, how many of you made all your free throws? Nobody raised their hand. Then I said, how many of you made all your layups? 1 out of 13 raised their hand. So I said, okay, how many referees, hear me, because this is not about basketball, this is about perception in life. So I said, how many of you had referees come up to you and say, you should have made that layup. That was a bad shot. You missed your free throw. They all put their heads down because I realized I just gave them a perspective they never thought about. And they said, none of them. So I said, so think about this. You're not 100% accurate. You're not doing everything right, but the referee did not come to you and tell you that you are wrong. So what value is it for you to say to the referee, they're wrong? And if we go even deeper, they're humans. So if you from the bench tell the referee that they're wrong, how are they going to feel about you? Bad. If they feel bad about you, what kind of calls are you going to get in the future? Bad calls. So I'm bringing this up for this, because after I made them have this realization, and I also added this, let's just be complete, because this has a lot to do with the way we look at life. It's not about referees, it's about the way in which we complain about what we see. Because the same argument I'm making about referees, we can say about presidents, we can say about governments, we can say about bosses, we can say about all types of avenues in which we spend more time complaining about the way it's done than we do putting ourselves in the best position. So the final thing that I said to them was this. I said, ladies, here's how we handle it. We make the referees' calls irrelevant. We make the referees' calls irrelevant by doing what we have to do and putting ourselves in a position where we will take care of what we have to take care of, and whatever they call it doesn't matter. That's the advice I want to give to you to keep yourself out of situations like this, young lady. We're not here to complain and bitch and whine about what banks are doing. Get your hustle on, bank. We're doing the same thing. Get your hustle on, bank. But we need to take steps to make what they do irrelevant. We need to take steps to make what we do irrelevant. What if we fully take advantage of this educational platform? What if we did what I always say is the key to being successful, and that's watching the next video? There's an African proverb that says, how does an ant eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So all you have to do is watch the next video. So if you do that, and then you put yourself in a position where you can finance your child's education, if you even think they need the education. Wait, hold on. Did a dude with a PhD just say that it's not even necessary that they get an education? He did. Because like I said earlier, the paradigm is shifting. I'm glad I have a PhD. Having a PhD has opened up many doors for me that I really have enjoyed. I had the opportunity to go to Vietnam and teach a corporate finance class. I would have to have a PhD to do stuff like that. I get that, but let's not get it twisted. It is not the degree that allows you to be successful in your hustle. It is the integrity and the intensity in which you pursue your hustle which makes you successful. So can you open more doors with a degree? Of course. But let's not lie to our children and make them think that the degree is all you need. But my point is, just like I told my players, play your game so strong that you now make what the referees call irrelevant. Let's do that for the government. Let's do that for financial institutions. Let's do that for the economy. Let's do that for banks. Let's play our own game. Let's take care of what we can take care of. Let's get our technique together. Let's put ourselves in a position to make our game strong. Let's take advantage of the IM Academy. Let's take advantage of the training calls. Let's learn it for ourselves rather than just waiting on a trade to be called. Let's get it. Let's understand it. Let's get why. Let's dive in. Then we can put ourselves in a position where no daughter of ours will have to make a phone call like that. Here's another tangent to my tangent to my tangent to my tangent. I really felt for that young lady because she was very sincere. She was very intelligent. She did everything the right way. And now she was in this position where she was concerned about her ability to pay this payment before they added the $11,000. So one of the things that you and I do, this is nothing against her, this is just us changing the way we do things. One of the things that we do a lot, ladies and gentlemen, is we do what I call back-end managing. Back-end managing. What does that mean? That means we wait until we're in a particular situation. We wait until we're in a scenario. We wait until we have an issue, and then we want to complain about the way in which it's addressed. What do you mean by that? So again, nothing against the young lady. She just didn't know. She wasn't exposed. But oftentimes we'll wait until we're in a spot, and then we'll complain about the way in which it's addressed. And here's a perfect example. This is the day that I invented backhand managing. It's about 18 years ago. And I do not watch the news. I do not read the newspaper at all. But my mother is the type of person that she likes for me to do it. So whenever I'm around her, she shows me newspaper articles or shows me something on the news or whatever. So she gave me this article from the Tampa Tribune. And the article said, City of Tampa residents upset at red light laws. And what the article said was this. There was a new rule coming into play that said after a certain date, the ticket prices for running a red light was moving from $75 to $150. The second point was that the city of Tampa started writing the $150 tickets before the deadline. So the whole front page of the article talked about how mad the city of Tampa residents were. Then you know how an article will start on the front page, then it'll continue to another page. So A6, it's amazing that I still remember this. A16 was the continuation. So the whole front page and then the whole page of A16 was all about the city of Tampa residents expressing their discontent that the city of Tampa was A, doubling the price of the ticket, and B, enacting it before the deadline. Not one time in the entire article. Not one time in the entire article did it ever say, don't run the red light. So what we do, ladies and gentlemen, is we wait until we mess up. We want to complain about the way in which it's enforced. So what I'm suggesting to you is this. This is more than just about trading and foreign exchange. This is about changing paradigms. This is about putting ourselves in a different mindset. This is about taking control of the infrastructure. Be your own bank is real. Be your own bank is about making generational change. I told you how excited I was when I made a suggestion to someone who suggested it to their child who has a child. So boom, just like that, 3 generations are affected. Now let me bring it home by telling you how that story and my excitement fits into where we are right now. I constantly on these calls talk about my children. 3 daughters, 18, 16, 14. 3 teenage girls, basketball players, finding their way, good children, good citizens. I like who they are. But I have to be real about the fact that we are living in a world that A, undervalues female leadership. Raised by a single mom, raising 3 daughters, I see it every day. So my bottom line to you is you have to walk the talk, finance doctor. My children know exactly what I do. They'll walk by in a minute while I'm doing a talk with the finance doctor. But I had to be real about the fact that I really have not exposed them to this life that I want them to live. Have I told them about it? Absolutely. Have I showed them charts? Absolutely. Have I let them know what trading and foreign exchange is? Absolutely. But I'm excited because I'm about to take it one step further. I want my daughters to sit at the feet of who I consider to be positive, powerful, impactful female leadership. So when I get off of this call, I'm going to do a new tab on my computer and I'm going to register myself for the Faith and Finance Women Teach Forex Conference Expo that's going on December 7th in Jacksonville. And then I'm going to sign my 3 daughters up. And I thought about something. I've taken them to speeches I've done. I've taken them to sermons I've done. but I've never really involved them in what I do professionally. So I'm excited that this event is happening. I'm excited that I got the divine download to bring my daughters to what I talk about all the time. And I hope that you feel my excitement and that you do what you have to do to be there. And again, me being an individual that's blessed enough to honor and respect the power of female leadership, I'm looking forward to it myself. I'm looking forward to the four of us getting another view, another way of looking at this Be Your Own Bank movement and understanding just how powerful it is and how powerful these two young ladies are in their delivery and their ability to help us with this movement. So I hope that you join me in Jacksonville on Saturday, December 7th. This has been a talk with the Finance Doctor, and I really do appreciate everyone for your comments and your attention. So I will now turn this call back over to our host and or hostess. So based on the fact that I have not heard anything, you're very welcome. I will assume that it is my responsibility to close out this call. So I want everyone to have a wonderful Friday, a wonderful weekend. And the next time that we will convene will be Monday morning at 5 a.m. So continue to stay in the academy. You know, you can trade crypto over the weekend. I wish everyone a wonderful weekend. I'm sure we'll do Tuesday, but of course, next Thursday is Thanksgiving. So you see, I have on my holiday talk with the Finance Doctor stuff. So I want you guys to have a beautiful Thursday evening. And this will officially end this call. Everybody take care.